everybody, welcome back. All right, so today what we're going to be talking about is the trauma kit that I'm putting together. Now, it's missing a couple pieces, but it's complete enough that I think it's time to showcase it. All right, now this kit itself, if you remember last year when we got the interview cube from GearPack, well, I could never get one that worked. The batteries kept coming in corroded, and so what they ended up doing is they sent me one of the back seat of your car, like a tactical attachment, and it came with 5 pouches, and this was one of them, and it had the Red Cross. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna make myself a trauma kit. So let's get into this and let's see what we got going on in here so far. All right, so I do have a list here. This is stuff I want to put into it, and we are almost complete. But like I said, I got enough in here that I think it's time to check it out. So, of course, we do have I do have a pair of EMT shears here. These are good ones. These ones actually they're not cheap ones. Those work pretty good. And of course, you use those to cut through clothes. Those things will cut through pennies. Those. So this is something that you can use to remove clothes if you have to get to a wound. And again, I'm not giving out any type of medical advice whatsoever. So I know that, no, I'm not giving out any type of medical advice. I'm just telling you what I have and what they're used for. So, and then if you recall, we got this light here. We got this from GearPack in our first aid kit one. And, it's pretty much, it's just for checking pupils, but, it's a light. So you can use it to see what you're doing. So a flashlight is always good to have. Then, of course, as you remember, we did say we were going to keep this, but we do have our rat tourniquet and, control bleeding. So there we go. And, all right, let's see here. Let's get to the next thing. All right, actually, we'll go here to the top. So what we have here is we have a pair of metal tweezers. You have to dig stuff out, glass, splinters. Good to have some tweezers. And we do have one of the emergency whistles that came in one of the many survival packs that we got. So, but it's not the Stealth Angel one that my sister gave me, but it came in one like that. So we do have an emergency whistle. Then, of course, we do have some roll gauze. So I believe this is 2 feet by 2 inches. And then we have some hand sanitizer. Now this is something that I picked up at the Dollar Tree, so like $1.25. You have some hand sanitizer because if you are helping somebody, if you have the training and you're helping somebody, you want to make sure that your hands are sanitized. So, all right. Next up in here we do have I picked this up also at the Dollar Tree. It's $1.25, but this is pretty much a ace bandage. So if you do have to, splint somebody, wrap them up nice and tight. Okay. All right. Next up, we do have some surgical tape. So once you get if you do have that bandage on there, or any of the pads that we have in here, which we'll get out here in a second, dig those out. So we do have some 3x3 inch gauze pads. So if you do have to cover up a wound, you can cover up the wound, seal it up with the tape. We also have a couple of the spore seed and disinfectant towelettes. So if you do have to go near any wounds, you can sanitize the wounds to keep them clean. Moving on, I do have some gloves as well as a mask. This is just a mask that we've had laying around, but if you're sick or anything, you don't want to be blowing stuff out on an open wound. So you got a mask, and then of course the gloves for obvious reasons. Keep your hands away from, because you don't want to get infection set in. All right, and moving on. We do have an emergency blanket in here, and The reason for that is one of the worst things that you can have with anything is shock. Because if you do have any type of wound whatsoever, shock makes it worse. And so this right here, this can help keep your core body temperature under control. So I know that a couple things that I am waiting on. I do have some QuikClot, which is just a powder you put on a wound so that it'll prevent it from, it'll help the clotting action. And I'm still trying to get a triangle bandage, an Israeli bandage type thing, as well as a pressure bandage. So, but like I said, only a few items missing, and most of this we've either gotten in different various kits or subscription boxes or the Dollar Tree. So, so if you have the knowledge and the know-how, which I'm not giving out any type of medical advice whatsoever, but if you have the knowledge and the know-how, you can build yourself a nice little kit that that help you control more serious wounds. Again, the main thing is that a lot of what we're getting, we get a lot of first aid kits, and first aid kits are designed for very minor scrapes, cuts, stuff that you don't need a doctor for. This is stuff more that, like I said, with training, a lot of this stuff you do need to have training for, so I wouldn't recommend using any of this unless you do have the training. But, if you're in a bad situation, it's good to have this stuff on hand. So, that's my little trauma kit, that I'm putting together. I've been looking up a lot of information. I did have when I was in the military, I did have I did have to carry a CLS bag because I was CLS trained. So combat lifesaver for those of you that don't know. But again, I'm not giving out any type of advice because YouTube frowns on that, and I don't blame them because I do not want to give out any advice that would get somebody injured. So that's just me. Again, I was CLS trained, so I do know how to use most of this. I know what it's used for, what it's not used for. But I'm not giving out any advice. That's what I have. That's the beginnings of my trauma kit. Again, the only things that I'm missing, I'm just missing a few things. So when we get them, I'll put them in here. But we're not gonna be necessarily seeing any of that because it's pretty much complete. With what we have here, if I needed to stop major bleeding on somebody, I could. But that's it. Just a quick little video. We've got a lot of good stuff coming up. I'm actually almost completed with a really nice project. It should be able to go up in a week or two. I'll be bringing you that project, and I got a couple more that I'm starting to work on. That some of those are good for like around the, how should we say, around a camp or like a homestead, if you will. So I'm working on some stuff for that so that we can start doing some more fun stuff outside. The weather's starting to get a little bit nicer. Well, I don't know if we'll call it nicer, but it's starting to warm up. So we'll be able to start doing more things outside. And then the heat's going to kick in, and then it's going to get really crazy. So, but, and this is, another thing about this bag that GearPack sent is that it does have your attachments on the back to go through, so you can hook this onto plate carrier, body armor, backpack, and you can remove your first aid kit without having to. So you can still have this attached onto, say near your kidney, and then when you need it, you can just rip it off and then just put it back on later. So, but that's it. That's my little trauma kit. And it's not complete, but this is good enough to do a lot of what I would need it to do for what it's worth.